Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sko Show, part of Mile High Sports. My name's Sean Drotar. That is Peyton Kraft. Peyton, you had a very busy weekend. We're going to get into the Big 12, what happened during the Buffs bye week, and get a little bit of a sense of what the conference looks like leading into this weekend's game at Utah. But you had a fascinating week. And for people who don't follow you and maybe only know you from here, there's a lot that you're doing because not only are you here with the Buffs and looking at the program there, but you were with the Avalanche, the Broncos. I mean, what a weekend. Tell people a little bit about what you did.
Yeah, it was girls hockey night at the Colorado Avalanche game versus Boston. So everyone who was a part of the game, the PA announcer, the in-game host, which was me, all girls for the night. So it was a great night. Super fun to be part of the Avalanche crowd. They are crazy. They're fun. And of course, the Avalanche got a win. So that was also really nice. But it was super fun. I'm currently the in-game host of the Colorado Mammoth, which is, if you don't know, Denver's pro lacrosse team. So I got to then kind of scoot over to the Colorado Avalanche, be there for girls hockey night, and got to represent the girls in sports. It was a great night and a great win for the Avs.
Yeah, that women in hockey night is obviously a tremendous night. I've gone to a couple of those. It's a lot of fun, highlighting a lot of the women playing sports. You know, all the way from the younger kids starting out, all the way to the professional levels too. Some members of Colorado's hockey community involved in the PWHL and some of those recordings as well. You know, brought in as wishes. So that's exciting, and that's really cool stuff to be able to take a look at that. Of course, the University of Colorado doesn't have D1 hockey or hockey at a competitive level. It's not something that they're doing at the moment. And by the way, if you want to jump in right now, I know that CU and the University of Denver tend to, ping pong the national ski titles back and forth every year. But I admit, diving into hockey with down at Denver right now, maybe not the time for Colorado to jump in. TU's got it pretty good so far, rolling for them 10 national championships. But yeah, great scene for women in hockey, and really cool for you to get to be a part of that, Peyton. I'm sure we'll see much more going forward. When it comes to the Buffaloes, though, off this week, very much needed bye week. They have been dealing with injuries to a lot of different positions on the offensive line, the defensive line, running back position. They'd like to get some of those back because this game against Utah, talk about a game of massive importance. You can get yourself back to 500, and all those goal objectives that you had for the year, getting into a bowl game, all that stuff is back on the table. But if you lose this one, then that road becomes pretty hard. So for the Buffs, the bye week, I don't think could have come at a better time for them.
Right, correct. And it couldn't have come at a better time because of all the upsets that happened. And it actually helps the Buffs with Utah. They lost to BYU over the weekend. That means that this game for Utah is not as big of a deal. If they would have won against BYU, they would have been in that top contention for getting into the college football playoffs. Now that they lost, they've dropped out of the top 25. So it's not as big of a game for Utah, which is good for the Buffs looking to upset Utah on the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tricky when you're looking at that with the conference races, right? And with the Big 12 this year, there are a couple of teams. There are 4 ranked teams, of course, and now Utah drops out. And because it is top heavy, now it's not going to mean that Utah is just going like, oh well, we didn't make it to the championship game, so we're just gonna roll over. But I do get the point, and it blunts their momentum a little bit for the Buffs around the Big 12 too. It's so topsy-turvy right now when you're talking about things. Texas Tech was ranked 7th in the nation. They lose to Arizona State. As you pointed out, BYU gets upset. Takes the win and knocks off Utah, who was a highly ranked team beforehand. Now, Arizona State was 2 in the preseason rankings, but this is still a conference that seems to be feeling itself out a little bit, even this late into the season.
Right. Yeah. I mean, ASU lose dramatic, like by 40 points in the last week, and then upsets Texas Tech for Texas Tech on the road. So at home for ASU, they go back into the top 25. So ASU's kind of been all over the road, and we do have to still play them this season. So that's going to be something you want to watch. Their quarterback was hurt. He should be healthy hopefully by the time we play him. But yeah, with 4 ranked teams in the top 25, and then just in general, the top 25, there's been a lot of chaos. I saw a stat. Whoa. Every team except for number 1 changed this week. So definitely a lot of upsets. Miami got upset by Louisville. LSU went down. They fell to number 18, Vanderbilt. So lots of movement. The thing you have to realize about the Big 12 and why it's a little difficult is you have big conferences like the SEC, the Big Ten. So the Big 12 really will probably only get one team into the college football playoff.
Yeah.
So it's a fight for that top position. BYU's undefeated right now, so they're taking that top spot. But it's not like two teams will probably get in. So it's that fight to get that first place finish.
Yeah, and that's obviously with the Buffs weren't able to compete to get into that Big 12 championship and have that last year. That's not in the cards this year. And despite some of the arguments that the Deion Sanders and the Buffs kind of indicated in the offseason, it was never really in the cards. You're right. BYU ranked 11th, unbeaten. Texas Tech 14th, Cincinnati 21, Arizona 24 coming into this week. So no teams in the top 10. But the counterpoint is you have a 7-0 team that's 11th in the country in BYU that you had a 14-0 lead on before you ended up dropping that game. So I think when you look at a team like Utah, you can say, hey, look, if we were able to hang with these guys and maybe even should have beaten them, we can go beat Utah as well. But it's not going to be easy.
Right. And there's some struggles with Utah right now. One thing particular for the Buffs, they're struggling against quarterbacks that can run the ball and just the running offense in general. So for CU and for Caden Salter, that's something that I see them leaning heavy into this week is the run game, running Caden Salter. Obviously, you can't run the whole time, but that is something that Utah continues to struggle with. And I think that's good for the Buffs heading into this week on Saturday.
Yeah, the two losses, in this case to Texas Tech and then to BYU, both ranked at the time they lost. And those games, the BYU was close, 24-21 last week. The Texas Tech game earlier this year, 34-10, Texas Tech blew them out. The problem is Utah has blown out their opponent in everything else. UCLA 43-10, Cal Poly 63-9, Wyoming 31-6, West Virginia 48-14. And Arizona State 42-10. So it's going to be a difficult game, but the Buffs do seem to be playing relatively well. And I sound like a bit of a homer saying this, and I understand that, and I'm not trying to be. But for a team that has lost 2 of 3 games, they have played relatively well, taking leads, 2 touchdown leads in both of these cases before losing in the losses. So they are close in a lot of ways. And so this is the opportunity to kind of break through. You look at some of those missed chances, obviously against Georgia Tech, the 7-point loss there, the 3-point loss to BYU. Of course, it ended up being a 14-point loss to TCU, but another game in which you had a 14-point lead. You feel like, boy, if you could have just gotten one of those, and they're 4-3 right now, it feels like a totally different season. But here they are. And when you look at the rest of the schedule, yes, obviously it's a Power 4 conference. It's tough. But the rest of it, some of the games that are left, you warned about Arizona State, but there are other games on the rest of this schedule that are pretty winnable, or at least appear to be as we stand today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have Arizona, not a ranked team. I think the Buffs, again, we talked about how sitting at 3-4 changes the entire trajectory of how we look at this season. Right. There are games that we can win to get to those 6 wins to make it to a bowl game. No, it's not going to be easy. You have Utah on the road. Utah's homecoming week. That's always just a difficult week to play on the road. But then you come back, you play Arizona at home, you play ASU at home. I think those are winnable games. We have to see how they play against Utah. Because like you said, Utah, yes, they struggle against running quarterbacks. They're a pretty good team still. I mean, they rank top 12 in teams in points allowed for the defense. So CU has to come out early, score early, like we've seen them do. So it's not unheard of for CU to go up, but that's something CU needs to do heading into this week is come out early, score early, and then hopefully run the clock management. That's going to be a big thing for the Buffs with the running game.
Yep, that's the advantage of the running game, obviously, especially when you're the team that is the underdog. You can run, you can control the pace, control the clock, maybe wear the defense out in a game that's close late. That gives you a puncher's chance. But yeah, you look at the rest of the schedule. Obviously, the Buffs, the overall record of 3-4 isn't as impressive as you'd like. But yeah, when you look at the rest of the schedule, you brought up Arizona. West Virginia is after that coming back. West Virginia 2-5 on the year, so you think that's a game that's winnable. And yeah, I still see it, but the problem is that path to 6 gets real narrow if you lose this game. The Sko Show is always brought to you by our friends at Peckish. 2 different locations. You know the one up at the hill. You know it. You love it. The new one is just a footsteps away. It's right there, but 3 times the size. Everything else you love about Peckish. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out because you haven't been in Boulder, well, that's okay because they're no longer just in Boulder. See right there, the Denver Tech Center. It's I-25 in Bellevue and the Bellevue Station. Just a couple minutes, and I mean a couple minutes. I mean literally. Like when we say a couple minutes, we're not talking figuratively. We're talking, literally. It's 2 minutes. 2 minutes right off of I-25 onto Bellevue. So you're right there. You get all of the wings, the great pizzas. They have that beautiful, beautiful oven there. And that recipe is entirely their own. Tremendous sauces. You can get it boneless, bone in, whatever you want to do with the wings. And there's other things on the menu as well. So the wings, the pizza, all the beers on tap downtown. When you go down to the DTC Peckish, you are going to love it. You're going to come back. You're going to be surprised by how much fun you had. It's a great spot for lunch. They have lunch specials starting at $10. Try to find that just about anywhere else. And the opportunity, of course, to a lot of things going on in the evenings as well, including our own Nate Lundy from My Life Sports Today on Thursdays, who's down at that location for Thursday Night Football, giving out his best bets and an opportunity to come check out Peckish too. So we're delighted to be sponsored by Peckish. It's certainly a place that I end up frequenting because I do like my wings. I'm not even gonna lie, and I like it a lot with football and sports, and you can't do any better. PeckishCO.com is the website. But yeah, we talk about the challenge here for the bowl because we always say this in sports because we're trying to make ourselves feel better, right? Well, the calculus, it's not calculus, it's addition. You have 5 more games and you have to win 3 of them to get into a bowl. 3. So if you lose this game, then you have 4 more games and you got to win 3 of them to get into a bowl. So that's why this is so critical. But it's even more than that because we saw in the win over Iowa State. Then the Utah kick got moved to 8:15 p.m. on a Saturday. It's an ESPN game. CU still draws an awful lot of attention, and that attention helps when it comes to recruiting, and it helps when it comes to mind share when people are thinking about where should I go to college. Wow, okay, University of Colorado Boulder looks cool. Spoiler alert, it is. And the other part of the equation there is to stay on national TV, Peyton. You got to, if you can't keep at least winning, you've got to keep it close. You've got to keep it entertaining. The Buffs have been on every single one of their games since the beginning of last year has been on national TV, the longest stretch of any team in the nation. But that could come to an end as soon as next week if they get their doors blown off by the Utes.
Right, because you play Arizona after Utah. Arizona is not ranked, not having the best season for them. So that's one of those games that just doesn't need to be shown on national TV. Now, if the Buffs come in to upset Utah, then it changes how this national television sees CU. Again, you'll probably have the ASU game on national television just because ASU is still kind of in that mix of the top 25. But then you have West Virginia and then Kansas State, both teams that not in the conversation really. So for them, this game, it's important to them both in terms of getting on national television, staying in the media scene, but also for them in terms of a bowl game. Because like you said, after this game, you have 4 games left, 2 on the road, 2 at home. Not easy games to win. Kansas State just beat TCU 41-28. Right. So Kansas State's kind of finding their footing towards the end of the season. And we lost to TCU. So it's just one of those things. You want to keep winning, or at least, like you said, keep it close. Keep your name in that conversation that, hey, they almost upset Utah. Let's see what they do next week because they still have a chance to make the 6th game for the Bulls.
Yeah, the beauty of that national TV situation, though, is as long as it's great to be on it, right? The attention's always good. You can't buy that kind of attention, but you also don't want to lose badly on it. You don't want to get the reputation to be in the team. I keep tuning in for this team, and they never really look that good. So a big opportunity. We'll touch a little bit on this Utah series. We can do that a little bit later in the week. But if you're Buffs fans, you're thinking, well, we beat them the last time you got them. Well, you're right, but those have been few and far between since this rivalry has been renewed back in 2011. The Buffs are 3-8 against Utah, including losing 6 straight in Utah. We know that Rice Eccles is one of the toughest places in the country to play. We know that, obviously, as you pointed out, is homecoming night. It's going to be a big one, but I will offer this. Sometimes that can be too much at once, and a team tries to go big to meet a big moment, and they can make mistakes. And I think that leans into your point for the Buffs. If they're going to win this game, they're going to be within 1 score for the first half and hopefully have a lead at some point, because you're not going to be able to do, let's say, what the Denver Broncos did against the New York Giants and say, that's all right, we can, knock out 33 points in the fourth quarter and take this. That's not a way to win. You're going to have to do what you suggested. Come out, dictate the pace, take a lead, and then this time find a way to hold it.
Right, yeah. You said it perfectly. Take the lead. And we did win against Utah last year. We had Travis Hunter and Shedeur. Shout out to Travis Hunter that we talked about this on Friday. He had yet to have an NFL touchdown. He got that this weekend. So super big congrats to Travis Hunter. But yeah, like you said, it's a different team this year against Utah. On the road, we've always struggled with against Utah. So that's another thing against them. But take the lead early. Utah's also ranked high in scoring offense, so I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But also, CU just needs to come out early in order to stay up, get that 14-0 lead, and then stay in the mix of that game and not let it get away from you.
Yeah, a little bit better health would help. Hopefully the bye week will help with that. Good shout out as well to Travis Hunter. It's the touchdown in the London game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you're a new Jaguars fan because of Travis Hunter, don't look at the rest of the highlights. You won't love them. But obviously for Hunter, congratulations on getting that first touchdown. And I guess you have the reverse jinx going, Peyton. So I'm not even going to mess with it. You're talking about ways things that are working out for people. So, hey, let's keep that going for the Buffaloes. They have a massive game against Utah. Obviously, the way this season has gone is not the way anybody wanted it. And it kind of has been hard to tell with the Jekyll and Hyde performances from week to week. This is an opportunity to stabilize that and go forward. Hopefully the Buffs can get that done. We'll break it down in more detail as we get closer to the game on Saturday. But we'll set the stage for you in the Big 12, where things are moving and what it means for the Buffs. Obviously not necessarily in the Big 12 standings per se, but to get an idea of what every team in the conference is trending up, trending down. And you know what? The whole thing, like you said, only number one didn't move all of college football. Welcome to the era of parity, which for the Buffs this week, probably a good sign for them. Anybody can beat anybody on virtually any given week. So for Colorado, that's the goal. We'll find out as the game comes around on Saturday night. Thanks again to our friends at Peckish for all of the sponsorship. We love being there, a preferred dining partner of CU Athletics, not something they throw around all that often, and an opportunity for you to go check out what it's all about with the Buffs themselves. Think that's the spot for them to go. And by the way, you've had a sequence where you've talked to Ben Finiseth and Alejandro Mata. And look, if there's anything, I'm generalizing to an extent, but if there's anyone who knows wings, it's 20 to 22-year-old football playing dudes, and watching them just house these things, sitting there interviewing with you, Peyton, you know it's good, it's a great fit. So check it out for yourself, peckishco.com for all the latest. Peyton, thanks so much. I know you had a busy weekend. So cool you had an opportunity to do that with the Avalanche. And make sure when you're going to check out the Mammoth one, that's the one with the get in the box chance. I know if you haven't been there, you need to go. I mean, have some fun. Those Mammoth games are a blast, especially, you talked about hockey. Indoor lacrosse, it's kind of hockey without skates.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty similar. Still have all arenas, still got all the great food, and you're just running instead of on skates, right?
Yeah, and even larger goalie pads. The goalie pads are amazing. So if you ever wanted broad shoulders, become a lacrosse goalie. You get the whole thing. You're walking wall. But Peyton, obviously, one of the busiest people in town, working on all sorts of arena stuff, and our host for so many of the Buffalo watch parties down at number 38 in Rhino as well. So make sure you come out this weekend, have an opportunity to say hi. Hopefully the Buffs get us a win. That'll do it for us. We'll get back at it later in the week to break down the game in particular. Exactly right, because win it, all systems go. Lose it, it's going to be a very tricky next few weeks for the Buffs, but all things would not be done yet. The road just gets a lot steeper, but that's okay. That's okay. You'll take what you adversity is opportunity, right, Peyton? That's the way you have to look at it. So for the Buffs, hopefully they look at it as well. That'll do it for us. We'll get back at it later in the week to break down the game in particular. For Peyton Kraft, for Danny Bailey, our producer, for everyone at My Life Sports, thanks for joining us on the Sko Show. And want me to leave it to you, Peyton?
And as always, Sko Buffs.
Sko Buffs.